Yeah, I had the same moment. I really, really liked how Olivia responded. She didn't make it a big deal. Like she didn't go overboard. She just provided a space that was safe for Gottmik, that was supportive, and then asked the necessary questions she needed to respect Gottmik's gender identity. And like you said, she
Right.
led with her pronouns.
Hey everybody, my name is the very Reverend Dr. Juanita Bind'Em.
My name is Avery. Come on, very reverend.
If you're still on listening to us, this is part two of the show called Call In, Call Out, where we discuss issues on the show as they pertain to race relations, gender, capitalism, and all the other social and political things that are going on in the world. And we use RuPaul's Drag Race to really point out some of these very specific examples. Also, I really like Pringles. That just came back to me today. That Pringles bring me a lot of joy, and so I'm going to buy some.
Well, that is important.
Yeah, I just want everyone to know I
Think,
really like Pringles.
are you eating some right now? Is that why he brought that up?
No, but I wish I was eating some fucking Pringles right now.
Pringles are good, especially the original flavor. All the extra flavors I can do without. If I have the original sour cream and onion, I'm pretty fine.
Yeah, yeah, those are really
Okay,
really good.
so for our call in, call out. So our call in is something that is more gentle, more congenial. We witness something on the show that we really want to draw attention to and kind of call them in lovingly. Call out is something that's very problematic that just needs to be addressed. Um, so are you calling someone or something in or out this week?
I had a mild technical difficulty, babe. What did you say? Is
I
the mic
could.
working?
Yes, I said, are you calling someone or something in or out this week?
Oh, I am so calling someone in this week. So this week, my call in is the Olivia Lux lady. Olivia be a lady tonight. Um, so during this episode, Got Mick was discussing experiencing gender dysphoria. Um, you know, when finding a place to reconcile the character and the person that they are while also existing in a space that is often dominated by cisgender men. Um,
Hmm.
and Olivia Lux is one of the first people that they kind of spoke to about it, and the way in which Olivia responded to me was just very beautiful. One, they created a space and an atmosphere where Gottmik felt safe and comfortable to be able to express their truth without the fear of like repercussions or retaliation. But then they also didn't put the entire burden on Gottmik to make the space comfortable. Because soon as they had the conversation, it was time for Olivia to interject. They just wanted to clarify to them how they identify in and out of drag, and didn't make Gottmik be the
Hmm.
first one who had to do that. You know,
Hmm.
so the burden of discussing gender and pronouns and our presentation and identity are not only on the individuals who are often othered. The responsibility is shared between us all, and I appreciated that moment. So this week I am
Yeah.
calling in Olivia Lux.
Yeah, I had the same moment. I really, really liked how Olivia responded. She didn't make it a big deal. Like she didn't go overboard. She just provided a space that was safe for Gottmik, that was supportive, and then asked the necessary questions she needed to respect Gottmik's gender identity. And like you said, she
Right.
led with her pronouns. Like she said, she does he, him in drag, she, her, he, him out of drag, she, hers in drag. And Gottmik uses the same for the same reasons, which I really like because now we have clarity. Because
Yeah, very much clarity.
at first I was using gender neutral pronouns for them while they were in drag because I just wasn't sure. And I thought, and maybe I was tripping, but I thought I heard her refer to herself in drag as with they them pronouns. Um, so
So
now I'm glad everyone knows.
I do hear them refer to themselves with they them pronouns, but I will say that I often use they a lot, which makes people question, like, when I'm referring to other people who haven't exclusively told me that they don't like they them or don't feel affirmed by it, because it forces people to stop making the coming to conclusions about what's being discussed based on a gender identity they've labeled for themselves in their head. Identifying the gender of the person being spoken about is not always necessary, and sometimes we can intentionally do it to subvert those ideas. So but I'm very glad that they mentioned that, and they were very clear about the she and drag, because they're like, don't be calling me he when I'm in drag, you just fucking clock me, bitch. I was like, I know that's right.
Yeah, I know that's motherfucking right. Yeah, and that's why I use he they pronouns for myself, just to let everyone know that you can refer to me as they. And sometimes I prefer given the space, the platform, what's being discussed. Um, so yeah, I like that. So let's switch gears of taste and go back to the rehearsal, where Gottmik kind of had like an episode of gender dysmorphia, hearing her lyrics back, um, and he kind of had like a visceral almost reaction that kind of came out of nowhere. And that's the thing about gender dysmorphia, is that it can just creep up on you at any moment. Um, so how are you feeling about this?
I think gender dysphoria is something that a lot of people experience, and that isn't talked about, just like in everyday conversation very much. And I don't think it's something that only non-cis people experience either. I think
I was just going to bring that up.
And I think when we realize that it can really be helpful to bridging some gaps that exist between us. Gender dysphoria is the feeling or discomfort that you get when the gender that you identify as differs from the sex you were assigned at birth, and that level of uncomfortableness it can also sometimes be similar to like that fight or flight response we get, where we either can like faint or feel faint or fawn or freeze, like in these moments. Can happen where there are situations that make us feel like othered in our gender sometimes, or it can even be something simple with like the color that we're wearing, or how people are discussing the language that people are using towards or with us. And I think in this moment, Mick was just talking about how they had realized that they hadn't disclosed to the other queens. And that the lyrics in their song, were the first time. Now, Miss Lala was like, I heard her say them lyrics, and I didn't know what she was talking about. I just thought it was her song. You know what I'm saying?
Lala reading in her own world.
Yeah, she's like, I heard her doing the little lyrics. It was cute, but I didn't even get that's what she was talking about. Okay, girl, you good.
That's how she talked too.
Yeah. But it's a very different experience for them, and you could see the calculations and the negotiations that they were going through in that moment. Like, I don't think those were faked or performed. Like, that's really, they're like on the stage, and then they were like, they didn't even really want to like full out do their emotions and their lyrics, because they had to say it out loud again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just gonna do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and then we're gonna do. Don't worry about it. We'll see when we do the performance.
Right.
They're like, no, girl,
they're like, you'll see. She's like, we'll see it on performance day, okay?
Yeah, it's like, but that's very, very real and legit. And oftentimes, sometimes this idea of being clocked or people not knowing can sometimes lead to harm that happens to people. Sometimes very dangerous physical, that has a very big impact, on their life. And but my thing is that I don't think it was a necessity for Gottmik to have to. I feel like they could have. They came in with a platform, because they were the first openly trans man on the show. But outside of that platform in that context, there's no necessity for them to disclose to anyone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, and that's the thing about like continuously having to come out, like as a queer person in general, but especially, as a trans person, is that you never know what environment you're in, and like you said, that can open the potential for harm when you do come out. So I understand his hesitancy and everything when he was discussing it, and how he really didn't want to say it at first, and he gave it time. Um, but I like this moment; it was very real, and like you said, I don't think that trans people or gender nonconforming people are only people who experience gender dysmorphia. I think a lot of cis people, if they're being honest with themselves, experience it as well. And some of that is nature and some of it is nurture. I think a big part of that is nature, is like the social implications of what being a man is or being a woman is. And if you don't directly align with that and you feel a different way, I think that's a form of gender dysmorphia as well. Like I was actually just having this conversation. Like I'm cis-ish, like I'm a man, but I don't really subscribe to Western standards of maleness. Like uh, I dislike patriarchy. Men have to provide and protect is some bullshit to me. I don't build things with my hands. I don't really like watching sports. Like all these things that we have been socialized into believing that men should do or that men are, Avery is not. Um, and that is a form, at least I think, to a lesser degree than what Mick is experiencing. But I do think that's a form of gender dysmorphia as well. When you always have to negotiate and oscillate between those two worlds, and then having to explain it to people.
Yeah.
How you don't really align with certain, with certain expectations. Like people say to me, like, you're a man, you should blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't want to. Like,
Right.
no. So then you have to have that conversation of like, if you're a man, then why not this, right? So I think if people were honest with themselves, I feel like if a lot of cis people were honest with themselves, they experience gender dysmorphia as well. And if they really interrogated that kind of uneasiness when their gender expectations don't really align with what they want, then we can really have some real conversations about cis hetero patriarchy and heteronormativity and binary culture that is a result of white supremacist culture.
Exactly. And sometimes that uncomfortability is the meter that we're measuring it up against is fucked up anyway. Like if something that you're doing is not fitting into what is stereotypically behavior that is gendered as male, but that's like how you want to be and something that is affirming to you, then that's a moment where it's like, well, fuck what the system say about how a boy or a man should be. I'm gonna do me. You know what I'm saying? And
that's when I felt, when I did that. Sorry, when I took on that ideology of fuck what they saying, I'm gonna do what I want, that is the most liberated I've ever felt. Like,
yeah, and then sometimes it means.
Okay, doctor.
I defer to you. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think we were about to say the same thing. Like sometimes that means, shopping in the women's section. Sometimes that means painting your nails. Sometimes that means not being in a monogamous relationship or being in a relationship with the primary partner. All these little ways of subverting kind of white supremacist expectations according to your gender and sexuality. And it can mean, and like those aren't the only stipulations. It can mean different things for different people. But I just said, like, if we really start to interrogate those, especially as cis people, we can really start to have some real conversations, and it can really start to break down the walls of like this divide between cisgender people and trans and gender non-conforming people. Like, if you're really honest about how you feel about your own gender and the expectations that have to go along with it, you can really start to see the similarities in our experiences rather than the differences that that promote harm and promote violence and promote division.
Yeah, there's a quote by Maya Angelou that says, "We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike." Like, and some of the ways in which we are alike are some of the struggles that we have, and not the struggles that are always like inherently violent. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about like things that we experience that causes a little bit of turbulence, you know, in our lives. And like we said, look and interrogate, like where is that coming from? Do I agree? Do I not? Can I agree and feel it was this way versus that way? We'd realize that we all
And
kind
then
of
let me look it up. Like, let me get on Google and read some things so I can be better informed, right?
yes, and look it up. Get on Google
Not
and
only
look
do
it
I
up.
feel this way, what does the literature say? What does the text say? Like, let's put some scholarship behind our feelings and our thoughts.
And then we also want to be brought with a scholarship, like people who have knowledge in a specific field may not necessarily look like a degree or that. Just like looking for the vast majority of like the overwhelming experience that the individual has as well. But also, I think it's important that we look at literature and leaders and knowledge from individuals who are not, you know, white and cis and these, you know, we need to really be looking at the literature, the comments, the stories, the life, the example of individuals whose lives are often marginalized or oppressed. You know, like it's like white people let her read these anti-racist books that were written by white people, and I'm just like, okay,
girl, White Fragility. If I hear that book title one more time, I'm screaming.
It's like, well, girl, can you read anything else?
Anything, some written by a black person, preferably. Somebody
Like,
black and queer, preferably.
You get to be racist, and then you get to profit off of like trying to make us. I was just like, you know what? I'm okay, girl. Bye.
Yeah.
But no. I think that is very important. So once again, shout out to Guy Mick. My question is though, do you think that the show could I don't know. I just wonder how much Got Mick opted into versus what was just part of the story building. Because I just wonder if once again the burden could have been shared from just Got Mick, but it's a way that the show could have helped facilitate the conversation happening with the girls in the audience, which is us at home. How that rolled out and how much choice that they got in tailoring how their gender was discussed and handled on the show. It's something that I wonder, and I don't put too much credit on Wow and VH1 and Rude to like have really done that and gotten that right. But I just wonder.
Yeah, like Juanita, I was going to put that in my notes to discuss on the show, but I opted not to because I didn't want to like sour the moment, which was a really good moment on the show. But I agree, like a lot of times the Drag Race format is very exploitative of people's hardships, of people's struggles. And in that workroom when they're starting to get ready for the main stage is usually when the tears flow and the
producers are like,
the
cry
unfavorable
right now.
stories. Yeah, this is your moment to tell your backstory that is usually unfavorable. It's usually something terrible that's happened. Now people talk about being bullied, being arrested, being gay bashed, being abandoned by their families.
It's the trauma
And I
porn moment
think,
of the show.
yeah, it's the trauma porn moment of the show, and that's what kind of made me a little bit uneasy about the moment because I do think it could have been handled with more care, especially giving the background of trans contestants on the show. I think it could have been handled with a little bit more care and not as exploitative. But that's the nature of capitalism, is to exploit people, whether that's for their labor or for their trauma. you know.
Girl, is your
So,
TV on in the background? Can you turn it down? The I will say that there are some people, and it's like again one of those moments where more than one thing can be true at once. But there are people, trans people online, who feel as though that the show kind of like outed Mick in a way. And you have to think like the show takes place in multiple places in time. Like it was recorded months ago. We're digesting it now. It was edited later. The girls see it before it comes, parts and pieces, before it comes out to do confessionals. So it's like this moment has happened in multiple places in time, right? And I mean, Got Mick is open about discussing their trans experience on the show, and in life, and in doing that. But I guess people felt like they created conditions on the show that made Mick have to, in the moment of recording, when they're in the rooms together and like making the show, created conditions that were not favorable to Got Mick having complete autonomy and agency over how that rolled out. So there are trans people online that's just like, the show outed Mick. I don't care what you say. They outed Mick to the girls. And I think that could be a valid point.
That's absolutely
Mick
valid.
Hasn't said anything about it. Also, Mick could not think that people outed him, and then people can feel like that moment like made them feel that way. Like it's a
right.
But all in all, I think it was a beautiful to see a person that is not cisgender just talking about their experiences and their existence that was just like normal and human and just happening, and that didn't result in like some horrible scene, what I'm saying, or news headline, attached to it. So that I appreciate it. So once again, shout out to God Nick. I hope you do well during the season.
We know that you will.
Yeah, we do. We're doing like, I hope you do well on the season. And you're listening. I use they them pronouns out of drag. Call me a girl when I'm dressed as one, and or whatever. Dressed as the way that people receive is girly. I guess if I got on a wig and his face is big, then I'm a girl.
I feel you.
But outside of that, I am mostly use they them pronouns. The thing is though, I'm cool with he, they, but it just depends on who. I don't want people hearing me that's not in my circle. I really don't. Because bitches be trying it. Bitches be fucking trying it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a conversation before.
Yeah, and then you assert it, and then people get weird. Like, I'll tell you what, on these days, I feel like you're such a hot man, boy person. I'd be like, and I always reply with a correction to the male gendered language and switch to something else. And they'd be like, oh, okay. I'd be like, it's so funny when I turn my, on what's that one dating app? Oh, Scruff. When I changed my bio and stuff on there to say like non-binary, they, them, and whatnot, I got like 3 messages that day from people that was just like, see, I was gonna say, how do you? I'm gonna just get that wrong a lot, so I don't even want to even bother that. See, y'all just make it so complicated, and I'm like, girl, who even asked for you? Goodbye.
Right? Who said even if you would have messaged me, who said I was gonna reply to it?
Okay.
Like, yeah, I feel you, and I'm glad that you clarified your pronouns for the folk. Like, of course, I know them, but I'm glad that you explained it. Like I said, I use he, they pronouns. And Juanita, it's so funny because like sometimes when people message me on the apps, and I'm a person of a particular size and build that is that is usually associated with masculinity and maleness, right?
Yeah.
So they are always like, you're such a hot man, especially when I'm off scrub, right? And sometimes that even makes me uncomfortable, and I'm like, I identify as a man. But like,
it's nasty though. Even if I identified it that way, that's so fucking gross, because what they're doing is people are literally they're getting their rocks off, fantasizing about you in a way that you do not see yourself. And I feel like that is something that I need to either I need to check for, but at bare minimum need to consent to. You know what I'm saying? Like people,
bare minimum,
particularly white folk, and not just white folk, non-black folk, will try to fetishize you in even little subtle ways. Because
and it's usually those ones.
And listen, I found out it's plenty of motherfuckers on these apps. White people, I'm certain the queens on the show have experienced this, that will just straight up let you know that they want to fetishize you out loud. You know what I'm saying? They will big black cock you, they will this and that you. But there are ones who will play the game but are still doing it to you in their head, So it's a lot of negotiations and little things you do when you play outside of your race. That's all I'm gonna say. And that's legit. Bitches can feel any way that they want about it, but interracial dating is complicated and messy. And dating in general, but I'm just saying, like, whenever that happens, these are things that you have to talk about and reckon with, and you have to ask clarifying questions. I told the white person that I'm dating. I'm like, I will ask you every 2 weeks some clarifying questions about your shit, and you better be prepared to fucking answer me, and you better get no toot about it. I need to know that today at 6 o'clock, are you racist? Like, because you may not have been, you may not have been yesterday at 4. Yesterday at 4 might have been something, but today at 6 you might have, you know what I'm saying?
Sorry, that's funny.
I don't be playing. Somebody asked me, when will I stop having to be tested? When you die?
When one of us is in the ground, that's when.
Okay, that's when. that's when I said, I told the one that looked at him, and I was like, I don't know, I'm saying this outside, so I'm reminding myself, but I want you to know too that you are an exception and not the rule, motherfucker.
Hello. So I'm glad we're actually talking about this. I'm glad we're actually talking about like gender and body politic and the perception of those and how people are treated and coveted when they look a certain way. Because I wasn't going to have a call in this week. We were just going to talk about the gender dysmorphia thing.
Dysphoria.
But since we are dysphoria, that's what that's. Sorry, I said something different. But since we're talking about it, the way that Candy is discussed and interacted with on the show sometimes makes me raise my eyebrows and question.
Sometimes, first off, I wrote this down. I just got steamed on the inside thinking about it. Every time a person that's not motherfucking skinny put on a swimsuit, a pair of jeans, a pair of socks that is body positive. Well, bitch, I'm not positive today. I'm in a badass mood that I got on this tight ass pair of pants. I am pissed the fuck off. My left testicle that went up inside me, and I am mad. Okay, I am mad. Ain't nothing positive about this look right now.
Yeah.
You never see these skinny motherfuckers? I just so annoyed, like this whole even idea about it. But also this whole body positivity thing is also what it does to me is what happens is if Candy makes a choice tomorrow, they have instantly put her in this thing. It's the same thing with Lizzo that happened recently. So Lizzo was on that cleanse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a multitude of things that can happen here that are going on here. First off, when it comes to these cleanses and these diets and stuff, we all know that shit is disgusting. It's part of fat phobic culture and and that it exists in the medical industry and all of these things. And we also know that scientifically that these things aren't real. You know what cleanses you? Your liver. You know what I'm saying? That's what like these things are not real and don't really equate to what we call quote unquote healthy, but are often the opposite and dangerous, right? Particularly to people that are big, soft body, disabled bodies, all these different people, right? But also, she never said that she was some crusader for anti-fat phobia shit.
That's what I was going to say. You are projecting that. You are subscribing her to like a movement and the title that she didn't really give herself.
And that is dangerous. Applying politics to someone who did not agree to them is dangerous. It's racist. It's all of these things that are very negative. You know what I'm saying? Because does Candy talk about herself and her presentation in that way? And that's what's important. You cannot put these things on other individuals. You know what I'm saying? It's not okay. Just tell, and I told this motherfucker this one time. This guy tried to get me all buttered up like a fucking butterball turkey. And I was just like, listen here, motherfucker. I don't like to be called thick. I don't like to be called confident. None of that shit is a compliment. Tell me I'm sexy as fuck, and you want to fuck me until you come inside of me. That's what you tell me.
That's real.
Tell me that. Tell me you want to slam me onto the floor and put your dick in me. That's what I want to hear. This podcast is not safe for work. But this is what
I was about to say that. Don't let us that work.
Make sure, excuse me, editor. Make sure that you tag in this one that there's some explicit language and sexuality being used in this episode.
I hope my mom ain't listening.
No, but this is legit, and let our moms and parents hear this because this is a legit conversation. This ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm being serious. Like, tell me in its fullness, affirm me in the ways that I'm telling you to. This does not do it to me. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like to hear Candy's body talked about that way. And why couldn't you just tell me that why couldn't she just be sickening like everybody else? You won't tell Simone, oh my God, your skinny arm looks so good in that outfit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so weird. People weird though. People weird. The way we talk about bodies, other people's, including ourselves, and in general is disgusting. The way that we separate the body from the person and the soul that's attached to it is completely objectifying and ain't nothing cute about it. And y'all needs to cut it out. Number two for me. It's another thing, and Candy go get it this season because this is the thing. I already see it happening. Candy's a strong queen. She's fun. She's entertaining. She's cute. But this is what's going to happen. So now we got this whole body positive thing, which has been thrusted upon her by the judges, which is dangerous because the minute if she wears something that's too covered up, if she wears something that's revealing too much, because they always want to critique the body shape, and then when you give them too much body, you know what I'm saying? Because and it's not celebrated in the same way. So there's that. They also are giving her a bit of the mush mouth narrative, which I think is racist.
I don't like it. It's rubbing me the wrong way.
It's already rubbing me the wrong way. Like, I never understand the thing you're saying, but keep on saying it. Ha ha ha! Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and like I feel for Candy because I have a slight slight speech impediment, and I have a heavy tongue. So
You do got a heavy
sometimes
tongue.
when sometimes when I'm just stop it. That was about to go away. um, but sometimes when I'm talking, especially if I talk too fast, sometimes it's hard for folk to understand me. So I don't like the judges are saying it, the contestants, the fans online. I'm like, it's not fair to do that to her based on her speech patterns and,
Well,
and her
look,
tone of voice.
the queens are even doing to each other. Bob retweeted today on Twitter a
I
screen
saw it.
video of them watching, and I was just like, and I'm telling you right now, I know that Bob does not mean any malice in doing that. There's just like a normal kiki haha, and they also may know Candy in a way that we do not, right? But we have to be cognizant of the choices that we make and how and the stories that they tell, the narratives that they can be attached to. And we also have to be honest, when we put stuff out in public forum for people to see, that we don't know the whole backside. And that is also something that has to be taken into consideration. I am, your social media is your social media, your page is your page, but people will comment, and I just think we need to be paying a lot more care to the choices that we're making, particularly everyone. I'm not even gonna say particularly rich, famous, this or that. Everybody needs
Yeah,
to be paying
everybody.
attention to these sort of things, because at the end of the day, what we do is we give permission to individuals to continue to create an atmosphere and conditions that can cause harm to one another. And
Absolutely.
you would be sad if all of a sudden Candy did decide, I'm not doing drag no more because bitches out here clowning me, and that would be a legitimate response. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden it's like, which I want to make this point, and let me know what you think about this whole losing is the new winning narrative that Rue just said, talking about don't worry about nobody, don't worry about what nobody said say about you or whatever, just know that you are a star. No, RuPaul Charles, shut the fuck up. I ain't never gonna get on this damn show the way I'm talking. Listen here. I am no, but I am dead ass serious. How about you don't put it on him? At that very moment, you could have took those 30 seconds and looked dead into camera A, and you could have said, this is RuPaul talking to you, the queen of motherfucking drag, Emmy Award winning. You know what I'm saying? I am charging the fandom right now to cut it out with the bullshit, period. Oh, and everybody would have thought it was funny, but people would have really paid attention to it. You know what I'm saying? It really did it. Call out the people that's actually making these girls feel like shit.
Yeah, where the whole like don't make people make you feel less than or whatever is a very passive way to allow harm. I think you have to explicitly
it
speak
puts
out against
all
it.
the responsibility on the person who's being attacked and none on those who's doing attack. It's the whole Vixen thing all over again. Like,
I was just about to
everybody's
reference
telling me
that.
how to react, but nobody's telling her how to act. The Drag Race franchise needs to set a precedent, a guideline, a rule, an announcement about how they expect business to be conducted.
Right. Agreed. And I've always said that it's time
And
for
that
Drag
is
Race
on
to take
period. And you
accountability.
need to do it in a way where we can all see it.
Yeah. Did you see over the summer, everybody was trying to act like they cared about Black people this summer. Well, technically last summer.
That was like the biggest fucking. I thought I was literally like in the twilight zone. I'm like, this is an illusion.
We are. We live in the upside down. Nothing makes sense.
There's a glitch in the program. There's something going on. Like, I just don't like. I don't even check for Kamala that hard. But her Vogue cover is a mess. I'm like, y'all do not love us that much. If you let the vice president, the first Black vice president, Black woman vice president of the United States of America, be on the cover of Vogue and look like she is not. What is Vogue? Tell me, what is Vogue about that damn cover? Vogue America and that little Edna Mode wannabe needs to cut it out. She needs to cut it out.
Yeah, I don't. I don't have none for Camilla, really.
Yeah, that's really it for me. Is that the rule taking that moment and it plays in, because now we have Candy being discussed in the way. Oh, and the third thing, they're going to get they already getting the edit as like the aggressive one too. You know what I'm saying? Which is an issue as a issue for several reasons. You got a person of color being coded as aggressive and angry and I'll fight you, problematic. Also,
like I did the Vixen.
Also somebody who is from Latin American descent of any sort, or whatever, plays a narrative, even if they are not an immigrant, but how we think about people You know what I'm saying? From South America, from Spanish speaking nations. It plays into this narrative that they're like criminal, that they're violent. You know what I'm saying? And this is not true. And I can say that just straight up because we all need to have solidarity with one another, and also Black people are a part of the Latin community. So
Very that.
and
My fourth point about this candy thing, because we've been through three already. My fourth and final point about this, and this is a very seemingly innocuous thing, but you just have to be careful about language when you are talking about people of color, especially ones are of a particular size. When Ross Matthews said, like, I understand your critiques, but can I keep her? Almost like he was talking about a pet.
yeah.
Let's keep it cute.
Yeah, or like she done made or some house monkey or some shit like that. Yeah. Nah, bitch, can we get rid of you?
Right. And I genuinely enjoy, Ross Matthews. I think he's funny. But a lot of things that he says on the show, he was just mean that first episode too. Like, what is wrong with you? You okay? Everything okay at home? But yeah, I usually enjoy Ross Matthews and his commentary. I think he's really funny. But some of the things he says just make me raise the eyebrow a little bit. Like, you might want to be careful, especially when you talk about people of color, and especially people of color particular size. Like, don't talk about them like they're pets or possessions. She is a whole person with her own autonomy, so let's treat her
also
like
that. The thing is, I don't think you would say the same thing about a queen that was white. I'm gonna just straight up. You just probably wouldn't, because
not in the way that he said it. No,
not in that way. Not in that way. And that's just these are the things, once again, that we need to continue to think about, that we need to examine. That we need to examine, that we need to discuss, because this is how you start to break it down. This is how you dismantle it. This is how you can identify it. This is how you can show up for others too.
You can't fix something you want to address.
Yeah, it is so painstakingly important. So I mean, that's all the call-ins and call-outs I have for this week.
Yeah, those are mine too. So I guess that.
No, I have one last thing.
Okay.
This is
another thing.
And another thing.
And another thing.
Audience, and one more. Okay. This is for the audience at home that is listening, whenever you are listening, and for us, for one another, as we're talking about body politics, and as we further go into talking about desirability and the ways that shows up. I just want to make sure that we know that the Ebony Enchantress is sickening, but I just want to make sure that we're judging her fairly, that if something is off, that we're not just giving her a pass because she's, thin.
Right.
Just something to think about. That if we go clock somebody on a hem, then we go clock everybody on a hem.
Right. Her hem just ain't been off yet.
It has not. It has not, and I doubt that her hem will ever be off.
Like Jada Essence Hall, you're not gonna see a off hem. You're not gonna see a harsh contour. It's gonna be right. I think it's gonna be the same with Simone.
Simone don't even do drag makeup. That is just like, girl, just cute. Like,
going to the CVS.
Okay, like just very. I'm out and about. I am doing what I do.
Yeah, I'm looking good while doing it.
Looking good while fucking doing it. But yes, I just want to make sure that we're doing that. Alrighty, y'all. Well, thank you for tuning in to Call In, Call Out, the exclusive after show of Drag from the Left, a weekly digital series where we discuss all things RuPaul's drag, race, and relevant social content from a radical leftist perspective. I'm your host, the very Reverend Dr. Juanita Bind'Em.
And I am Avery. I need a better name. I need like a 2-part. I don't know. But yeah, I'll think about it.
Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us. You can catch us here every Wednesday at 6:00 live Sunday. On stereo. Oh, that was like
every Sunday. Yeah. You just mixed our posting days up.
Yeah, exactly. You can catch us here live at 6 p.m. on Sundays on stereo, where we will be recording Drag from the Left. The after show will not always be recorded here. But the main show will always be recorded here live at 6:00, and then you can check us out on Wednesdays on YouTube and everywhere else podcasts are streamed for the after show and this show to be ready for you to listen to whenever you get ready. We can be followed on all social media networks at Drag from the Left or Drag FTL, Drag from the Left. Please follow us, check us out. And subscribe. And I can't wait to see you all next week and get into episode 3 of RuPaul's Drag Race. Again, check out the episode. It drops on Wednesday, and we are out. See you later.
Yes, see
Bye.
everyone next week.